I know everybody's kind of obsessed right now with the Bob Woodward book, the New York Times op-ed, and for good reason. Those are very important stories. But if you're only focusing on those, you may have missed a story from the conservative Daily Caller this week where Donald Trump said, and there's a transcript of this conversation he had with the Daily Caller reporter. You can find it in the link below this video. Donald Trump claims that he has 100 pictures of James Comey and Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller hugging and kissing. Now, before I read his exact quote here, let me just explain that Donald Trump was trying to say that these men are good friends. That is why this investigation is taking place, because Robert Mueller has an axe to grind with Donald Trump. Everything's tainted. Everybody's corrupt. But instead of really saying it that way, here's exactly what he said. I had a real business dispute, and he's Comey's best friend, and I could give you 100 pictures of him and Comey hugging and kissing each other. You know, he's Comey's best friend. I don't even know what to say. I, honest to God, don't know what to say or how to respond to this crazy, completely insane thing the president just said here. First and foremost, even if these men are friends, Comey didn't appoint Mueller. That wasn't him. And Mueller is a Republican appointed by Republicans to investigate a Republican. Trump goes on later and he says this, then you have the conflicts of the people. You know, I call them the 17 angry Democrats. I guess they're being lowered down now. It's incredible when you look at Andrew Weissman and all these people. Some of the people work for the Hillary Clinton Foundation. It's an incredible thing. Honestly, people are very angry about it. People that love our country are very angry about it. So I consider it to be an illegal investigation. It should have never been allowed to have happened. There are so many lies and untruths in this entire interview that Trump gave to the Daily Caller. Obviously, they didn't point any of them out. But what's happening here is that Donald Trump is on his last leg. He is doing everything possible to discredit this Mueller investigation. Now he's trying to get into a little more detail about how conflicted Robert Mueller is, none of which is even close to being reality. Mueller doesn't have an axe to grind with Donald Trump. He's not just out to get him because he doesn't like him, which is something Donald Trump also claimed in this interview. Again, if you can stomach reading the transcript, I do suggest you go do that. But Mueller's just doing the job that he was appointed to, that he was appointed for. He didn't volunteer for this and say, "Ooh, let me go after this guy. I'm going to get him." He was selected, chosen by Republicans who assumed this would go nowhere. Mueller's doing his due diligence with this. He doesn't just want to take Trump down. In fact, has done everything he can to bend over backwards to make sure that Donald Trump is okay with everything that he is doing, including this week saying that, okay, I'm going to let you submit some written answers to the questions that I have instead of making you sit down and talk to me face to face during all of it. Yeah, that works in Trump's favor. But nonetheless, Donald Trump is not going to relent. He's not going to give up, because at the end of all of this, when that Mueller report comes out, if they let it come out, because Rudy Giuliani also said earlier this week he doesn't know if they'll let it be released when he's finished. But when it comes out, it's going to make Trump look really bad. And the only way for him to fight that at that point will be to have already convinced his followers that Mueller is corrupt, that he's incompetent, that he was plagued with conflicts of interest. But that's not going to help him. Support for the Mueller probe is at an all-time high, while disapproval for Donald Trump is also at an all-time high. So I think at this point, the public is going to side with Mueller over Trump, even if he has 100 pictures of Mueller and Comey hugging and kissing. First of all, they likely don't even exist. And second of all, even if they did, how would that matter to anyone, anywhere, for anything? Trump is desperate, and he's trying to paint these men as corrupt and possibly something else to plant in the minds of his little followers about them allegedly hugging and kissing, just to try to discredit them. If I were Robert Mueller, I would go ahead and put this investigation on the fast track just to shut the president up.